these products work, they're a symbiotic relationship. They grow in the roots, they grow in the leaves of the plants. They colonize, they move up, delivered as a seed treatment in the soil. They'll colonize the roots, but as well as the leaf tissue. And they're eating the methanol that's released by the plant, like we breathe out this carbon dioxide. This is the waste product from the plants. So they colonize and take that volatile substance, and that's what they use to grow and thrive, but they also deliver back to the plant. So it is a symbiotic relationship. They're giving it a nutrient uptake, higher increase, but no cost to the plant. And how they work in the soil right now, well, that's just wonderful. I thought it was just my phone, but apparently it's just a slide. We're going to wing this one. Basically, we're delivering it to the seed through the planter box. It's a dry powder. We go out with seed lubricant, but that's a dry powder. We go well mixed with that. Our delivery system is the seed lubricants on the seed as it goes out to the field. Once it's in the field, the plants interact with it as the roots grow. The bacteria grow out with it and colonize as the roots growing. So we're growing faster than the roots, so we're out there at every point of the growing point of the roots and moving up. What that does when it's growing on the roots is the nutrient use efficiency. It's allowing that plant an access to more soil nutrients. Not all of them are plant accessible, and the PPFMs make some of those a little more available to the plant. They increase the uptake, so that increases plant vigor. It's a biostimulant through the use of the nutrients. We increase the uptake of the NPK, but especially manganese and iron. And for soybeans, those are essential both for nodulation, the leg hemoglobin for the iron and the manganese, both are essential. So we see an increase in plant vigor. As most plant and most biological seed treatments, it's not a guarantee for yield, but we do increase plant vigor. Then it's up to the farmer to manage that for the rest of the season. And we've set a yield potential that's higher. It's up to you to provide the moisture, if you've had the fertility, the crop protection, but at least we set it up early for a higher plant yield. And we used to go out with different methods of application, the traditional methods that agriculture uses for seed treatments. And we got where we had a good CFU counts, and CFUs as colony forming units, how many bacteria are on the seed. And we came across the seed lubricant application through the planter box. And thought, well, that fits better for our model. There's more viability on the seed. There's longer shelf life. But what we were surprised were from 1,000 CFUs per seed here, when we took the seed back out of it, we were at a 10,000 level. So seed lubricant, planter box, increasing the interest in that and applying products. For us, it's a great delivery system. We're going out when we need to go out at planting. We're going out at a high concentration on the seed, and our viability is, we don't have an issue. You can mix this, and you've got up to 180 days on seed. Hopefully you're not waiting that long to plant. In the south, where I'm from, we treat it, we plant within 3 or 4 days, but this does give you a longer viability across that time. And if you're wondering how we came up with those numbers, we did go to the field with a third-party researcher, and we would treat the seed, put it into a planter box, go across the field with a commercial planter, and then we would pick up the planter at 20% across the field, 50%, 80%, and we would collect those seeds, put them in a vial, bring them back to our lab, and we do a CFU count on those seeds and average those out. The first time they said, yeah, we're seed treatment, but we're applied to a planter box, and I had my doubts, because that's not how I've done it for 15 years. You mix it with water and you apply it. That's how you do a seed treatment. But we tested this and came back, and if you look at the numbers, over here on the right, it's not the exact number, but if you do the stats on that, that's basically equivalent. We were that 10,000 per seed across the field, whether it's 20% to 50 or 80, so it's not all on the first seed to go out. It's not a big clump of powder in the bottom that treats the last part. We get consistent application across that. It really seems to stick to the seed. There's a small charge usually, so it's almost like a static. It's a plum there, and we're getting coverage on the seed. Mind you, we're also going out as a seed lubricant, so you're getting that application as well. But while we're doing the seed lubricant, you're not spending any extra energy. You're getting a very nice biological product. These are our results. It says farmer trial results. A lot of these third party like Intent, they go out and they find farmers, we run these trials, and then they deliver us back the data. And I've been doing this for 15 plus years. I never had a 75 or 80% win rate with the biological. If we hit 60%, it's not that the product necessarily doesn't work, but it's not always beneficial to the plant. Our win rates are 75% and 80. A 2% bushel advantage on soy. Again, I've done soybean inoculants for 15 years. That's a pretty good number. The 4.5 bushels on corn, we're very happy with that. But what we're really doing is we're putting on root area, root mass, and then these two down here on the bottom. For soybeans, it's the iron. For corn, it's the iron and manganese. Not only are we pulling more into the plant like NP and K, the percentage is equal, but we get bigger plants, but we're pulling more out of the soil. But specifically on iron and manganese, over here in the corn, we're actually increasing the percentage within the plant. So it's not the fact that we're just making it available, we're actually pushing it into the plant, which can be beneficial for plant yield. Everybody asks, well, what happened in 2022? I don't know how many of y'all want to talk about 2022. It was not my favorite year of testing, but we seem to get good result of our locations. We're all across the Midwest. These were products that went directly out to farmers, to our distributors, 16 data points so far. Right now, we're looking on corn at a 68% win rate if we're looking at some of our sites, but our average has increased to 5.3 bushels. So we had a good year. It was a difficult year for corn in a lot of our places, but sometimes 20 miles between sites, we get different results. But our average, of course, you can see across all the sites, we still average a 5.3 bushel increase. So we were happy. We had our doubts going into this year. You know, we can alleviate a certain mild, moderate level of stress, but there's a certain level where you're just not coming back from. But across our locations, we didn't pick where it went out, we didn't pick the fields, but we still saw a good response coming back. The surprising thing to me is soybeans. I've done trials where my researchers go out and they screw something up with a plant, or they only plant half the population rate in one product, and then on the untreated it's the full rate. And sometimes you see no difference, even a 25 or 50% reduction in soybean seeds. It's kind of tough to test on soybeans. They're very viable out there and come back. But our win rate this last year jumped from 75 to 86% win rate. And not only was the last two trials we added, we were at 100 in more of the northern states. And we were pushing 4.6 bushel average with those negatives. Before we had the negatives, it was over 6 bushels. Now we're down to 4.6. But I'll take 4.6 on a soybean product because I've tested it with different companies, distributors, and manufacturers. I never quite got that good with soybeans. It's a struggle. So surprising, but a nice surprise for us this year. Another benefit of this last year, we did finish our third year of field testing with Beck's PFR, and we did get their stamp of approval for this year for the corn product. Again, soybeans, there's soybeans. But the corn, we're averaging 3.8 over 3 years at a $12 return on profit. So we did get that this year. We're glad to have it. So it's not just me throwing up data. Bex has been testing it as well, and that came back and gave us the stamp this year. Another study on the soybeans. Again, this one doesn't have the stamp of approval. You have to have multiple locations over 3 years for Bex. They do a study on iron chlorosis, but they only have one site. So the products they test there don't qualify for the PFR. But I mentioned earlier that we push iron into the plant. So over the 3 years that we've been in their testing site there, we've had a good result. We've had positive results every year. And our return on investment is $12 an acre in an iron chloronic site. So initially, when the first time I was told about methyltrose, they said, yeah, it's great, but you ought to see what the iron looks like in these plants. So we always hoped this was what would happen, but this is our third year of testing, and we've proven the fact that we are pushing the iron into the plant, and that a benefit to the farmer. Some of the other plant products they've looked at have equivalent yields, but are more expensive and don't have a positive return on investment. So we're real happy to see a 12 instead of a -10 for the farmer. I don't think I'd want to have that conversation with the next season. But that's the story about PPFMs. Again, these are methyltroph bacteria. PPFM is fine for the discussion. We no longer sell the product ourselves, but we do have 3 wonderful distributors. The Low Mutech Group, Ariston Ag, and now we've added AMVAC with their BioWake product. Revline, Hopperthallo for corn and soybean from Ariston, and the Terrace Plus Dust. If you're interested, you can go to their website to find it. And also, we're on social media, so if you have any interest, Newly Symbiotics, we're out there. Look us up. We put all of our data on the website, the good, the bad. This year, a little bit of the ugly. But you can look at our research data. We don't cherry pick it. It's all on the site. So, I don't know how we are on time. If you have any questions.
We're in great shape on time.
Good.
So, questions and comments from you folks out there.